Hi-de-ho everyone, my name's Emma. Welcome to this week's video on Muscle of the Week. And I'm going to talk about Rectus Abdominis and how to activate it, as well as we're going to look at crow pose. So the main attachments for Rectus Abdominis are the lower cartilage of your ribs, your xiphoid process, which is a bony landmark at the lower part of your sternum, as well as also your pubic symphysis, which is a piece of cartilage at the front of the hip bone where your two hips join, okay? And the main actions for your rectus abdominis are flexion of the vertebral column, and it also compresses the abdomen. And it's one of 4 muscles in your abdominal region. So the other 3 are your internal and external obliques, as well as also the transverse abdominis. Okay, so activating this muscle is pretty easy if you understand its action and where it's attaching, which is what I just went through. So it's attaching to the lower part of the ribs and the xiphoid process, as well as the pubic symphysis. And like I said, it's flexion of the vertebral column. So you have to bring yourself into flexion. But obviously when you're practicing yoga, you're not going to be like over rounding your spine like this, okay? It's more of a subtle movement of just bringing the ribs inwards slightly and tucking the tailbone under and taking out the overarching in your lower back. So to get a sense of that in a really simple way is just to lie down on your mat like this. So you're just lying down, and the first thing that I want you to do is just take your hands under your lower back, okay? And you might feel that there's a little bit of an arch in the lower back. So what you want to do is take that away by tucking the tailbone under and bringing the ribs in. So I want you to take your hands to the lower part of the ribs like this, and I want you to think about pulling them down like that. And as you pull your lower ribs down, you may even feel the tailbone just tucking a little bit automatically. Okay, so you're taking your spine out of extension and you're bringing it into a subtle flexion. Now, what I want you to do is take your hands to your hips, and you're going to feel just these little triangular pointy parts of your hips, okay? And to get a sense of that, just take your hands to your quadricep muscle here, and then you're just going to draw the fingertips down like this, and you'll feel like a little knob, okay? And that is the anterior superior iliac spine of your hips. And then what you want to do is feel those little knobs lifting up as you tuck your tailbone, okay? So you're going to press your lower back down so that gap goes away, and these little knob parts are going to lift up, okay? And then just take your hands to your abdominal and you'll feel a subtle contraction there, all right? And that's a really easy way to get a sense of how to contract your rectus abdominis muscle. Guys, so let's go through the last section of the video, which is our Bakasana pose, crow pose. So we've got to think about activation of your rectus abdominis. There's a lot of other muscles working here as well, but muscle of the week, we're just focusing on the rectus abdominis. So again, it's not this whole rounding thing, it's that subtle flexion in the vertebra, so bringing the ribs in, tailbone tucking, belly pulled in, okay? Now, to protect your shoulders, you also want to think about drawing the shoulders back whilst keeping that subtle flexion in the vertebral column, okay? You're going to spread your fingertips apart nice and wide. Try not to turn the hands out like this. Keep your hands pointing forward at about shoulder width apart, okay? And you also don't want to bend and create this bow shape with the arms. You want to straighten the elbows just as much as possible, and then you're going to slightly bring the elbows in. There may well be a little bend in the elbows in the beginning. Don't worry about that, okay? Gradually what you want to do is work towards straightening the arms, but in the beginning having a little bend is fine, okay? Just make sure that you're spreading your fingertips and not tipping too much of the weight to the sides here, that you're pressing nice and firmly in the inner part of your hand just to distribute the weight evenly in your hands to protect your wrists, okay? Very, very important. And like I said before, take the shoulders back, spread the fingertips. You're going to tuck the tailbone, rib cage in, just like what we did before. You're going to take the knees either to the sides of the arms, or if you're feeling quite strong, you can take them to the backs of the triceps or eventually all the way up into the elbows, okay? Have a slight bend in the elbow, or if you want to work with straightening the arms, that's totally fine as well. Keep your abdominals engaged and look forward. Take the shoulders back. Gently apply weight to the hands. You can start with one foot and then work towards the other. See if you can hold it for 5 breaths.